Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. My name is Crystal Tierney and I will be guiding you through this practice today. So this practice was made with the intention in mind of a sort of brief energizing practice if you wanted to use it midday or early in the morning. Nothing too fiery, but just some general full body movements to get you going if you feel as though you need a little bit of a boost. So all of the forms we'll be doing today will be standing. So take some time to set up your space. Feel free to pause the video if you like. And once you have your space, you will start off in standing. So when you're in standing, you might take a moment to orient yourself. And this might include some swaying back and forth or side to side. And then you might possibly find yourself in center. Option to explore a lengthening up through the top of your head. And here you might notice your breathing. You might take note of where you're breathing in your body. And from your standing form of choice, you might choose to raise one arm overhead. Option to tip over to the side at which your hand is still on your body. Notice that you can come in and out of this form. And as you do this, you might notice a sensation along the opposite side of your body. So you might possibly switch over to the other side. Option to come into standing. And then you might bring your arms out wide, maybe bent at the elbows. And then from here, you have the option of staying in stillness, or maybe possibly you'd like to twist over to one side and then the other. You can continue this movement at a pace of your choice, knowing that you can come back to stillness or come out of this form at any point in time. When and if you're ready, you might choose to come to standing. And for this next movement, you can have your hands on your hips. You might choose to open the chest forward, maybe look up towards the ceiling, and then maybe curling inwards. Chin in the direction of your chest. So that's one way to move. Another would be to do that while giving yourself a hug. And the last option today will be eagle arms. So having your one hand out in front of you, bent at the elbow, and then the other one will also be bent. You'll put it on top, and then you'll wrap your two hands around. So know that you can stop at any point. So you can stop here. Maybe you'd like to continue to intertwine them. So with that same movement, you might choose to raise your arms up. Maybe look towards the sky. And then oppositely curling inward, hands more towards the body. If you're hugging yourself, or if you have eagle arms, you might take this opportunity to switch direction. Maybe, possibly, making your way to standing. Option here to raise your arms wide and overhead. Your hands can come to touch and come down through center. So that's one way to move. Or alternatively, they can come up and then back down. You're welcome to explore either or none of those choices. You might choose to explore breathing in rhythm with movement. So maybe breathing in on one movement and exhaling on the other. And then from standing, you may choose to begin to fold forward, so hinging at the hips. You might choose to place your hands on your legs for support. Or maybe you'd like to bring them to the ground. You have the option of widening your stance if you like. So know that you have the option to play around with that forward fold. Find a form that suits you. Know that your knees can be bent as much or as little as you like here. They don't have to be perfectly straight. And you can stay in your forward fold in stillness. Or you have the option of bringing a sway or small movement into your forward fold. You might choose to roll up your spine, bringing your head up last. Maybe arms overhead. And possibly bringing hands back down to wherever you may. From here, we'll explore a warrior two. So from the top of your space, you might step one foot back behind you. So from here, the foot that's back, you can begin to pivot on the ball of your foot so that your heel touches the ground as well. So notice that in your warrior two stance, It can be as wide or short as you like. And your front leg can also be bent as much or as little as you like. You might choose to have your hands on your hips, or you might choose to have your hands wide. So once you've found a warrior that suits you today, you might choose to join me in some movement. So one being to begin to lean forward in your warrior. And as you lean forward, you might choose to bring your hand or your forearm down to your knee. You also might choose to bring your opposite arm overhead. Knowing that you can move between these variations as you please. And if you like, you might possibly make your way to your warrior two. And then from here, you might choose to tip in the opposite direction this time. Maybe coming back through warrior two. Then you have the option of moving between those various forms at a pace of your choice. Knowing that you can come out of the form entirely at any point. Or you can linger in any of the forms at any point. So wherever you are, you might choose to come back to standing at the top of your space. And then if you like, you can step back with the opposite foot this time. So I'm just going to rotate here so I can give you a visual. So stepping back with the opposite foot this time. And just as before, you have the option of staying here, or maybe you'd like to pivot on your back foot so that the entire foot comes to touch the ground. Once again, you have the option of moving around in your stance to be wider or shorter. Your knee can be bent or as much or as little as you like. Maybe your arms on your hips, or maybe they're out wide. Maybe you're staying here in stillness, or possibly you're tilting forward. And if you chose to tilt forward, you also have the option of tilting backwards. So then you can choose to play around with those various options, knowing that you can linger in any of them at any point. You also have the option of adjusting your base at any point. When and if you're ready, you may begin to make your way to standing. When you find your way to standing, you might begin to bring your awareness to your breath. You might notice your breathing. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. If you begin to notice your breath, whether you notice it or not, you might possibly leave your arms to either side of your body, or you have the option of bringing your hands to your body, maybe to the chest or anywhere else. You might begin to bring some intent to your breathing, maybe adding a little bit to your inhale, as well as your exhale. If you have your eyes closed, know that you can open them at any point. And if you like, you can take your intent away from your breath at any point as well. If you choose not to focus on your breath, you have the option of simply acknowledging yourself in this moment. Another way to explore breath here could be to explore what it feels like to sigh. Sighing is something we do multiple times an hour, and we don't even realize it a lot of the times. Sighing is a special way that we tune into our nervous system and work towards that state of rest and digest without even noticing. So if you're exploring sighing, you might choose to inhale. And then on the exhale, just letting everything go. You might choose to take this time before moving back into the rest of your day to give yourself some thanks and some intention for the rest of your day. Thank yourself for taking care of yourself once again in this pandemic. Once again, my name is Crystal Tierney, and I really hope to practice again with you in the future. If you have any questions, never be afraid to reach out, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.